Boy, have I been anxious to speak with you, and I appreciate your patience here over the last couple of weeks. Maybe things are a little calmer now for you than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Um, I think we're going to start seeing them get busy again because people are really starting to try and figure out how they can open back up and what that
Yeah,
means and how, especially with cleaning and disinfection. What does that what does that take? What is it going to look like going forward, both short term
sure,
and long term?
sure. Gosh, more. We have five more COVID-19 deaths that are
Mm,
being reported as the latest update from the Vermont health officials here. There are now 35 confirmed deaths in the state as of Thursday. And in spite of the sharp increases in fatal cases, there are only 9 more cases overall being reported. So I guess some good news here in our little state of Vermont. So we now have the statewide total at 768 with more
mm.
than 11,500 tests that have been conducted. But um, this whole thing, as you know, is changing the way that we handle everything from work to play, um, how we conduct our lives. Um, and it is so nice to consult with an expert here and do a little bit of myth busting. You're an infectious disease expert. You're the executive director of the global, how do you say this now?
The Global Biorisk Advisory Council, GBAC.
Which
We
is,
call it. So we're a division of ISSA, and ISSA is the worldwide. They're the leading trade association for the cleaning and professional disinfection industry in the world.
wow, in the world. And
Mhm.
you've been holding webinars for cleaning crews to kind of share the proper protocol for cleaning and disinfecting during this whole pandemic.
Yeah, my actual technical expertise is in the area of biosafety and biosecurity, biorisk management. And prior to joining ISSA, I was the head of all environmental health and safety for Emory University, which included the healthcare side in Atlanta. And
Wow.
that's where I mean, back in 2014, I provided support. My team provided support to the clinical team that cared for the 4 Ebola patients. So this has been internationally, I've done a lot of work with a lot of developing countries, and also I'm the team lead for the development of an international standard on biorisk management that just came out last fall.
Wow. Impressive. Welcome to Aired Out. Are we all going to be germaphobes when this whole thing is over, Patty?
I think my hope is will there be a segment of the population that is germaphobes? Probably. It's just human nature. But the reality is that we're going to be much more aware of things, especially in the short term, because if you think about what the president and his cabinet rolled out last night as far as the 3 phase step, it's going to take a while after we've gone through what we've gone through to start getting back to the new normal, as they call
Yeah.
it. And it's going
We're all
to,
we're all
yeah.
waiting for the we're all waiting for that switch to flip, and for all of a sudden we can get back with our family members and friends, and it just happens so quickly, and it's just not going to be like that.
No, it's not. But I think that what, from my world, realizing some of the things that we can do, it's going to come down to human behavior. And I think
Yeah.
if you look and if you really read through that 3-tiered approach, it's not what is good is that they didn't specify within 6 months we're going to be here. They specified tier one is here with some measurable deliverables as far as looking at that curve, looking at the number of cases from a medical standpoint. And if we can meet those, then they can move to that next tier. And I think that's a critical thing that we have to remember. And so, in my world of sanitization and disinfection and getting to that new normal, What we've been really working hard on is different programs, and we're going to be announcing in a couple weeks a program called GBAC Star that can help facilities start giving confidence back to their customers and really putting in place processes and procedures and programs that are different than what they've done before, or verifying and validating what they've done before, to be able to give that confidence back so that we can move and continue to move forward.
Well, the debate around giving your fruit and vegetables a bubble bath kind of blew up a few weeks ago following this viral video, which I'm sure you've seen, of this family doctor from Michigan who said that soap and water was a good way to keep your veggies COVID-19 free, which at first it sounds like it makes sense, but since then, a whole bunch of experts have refuted this advice in pointing out that of the 1 million cases of COVID-19 worldwide, well, that was a statistic that was a couple of weeks old, so it's more than that now. Not a single one has come from contaminated food. There is a lot to think about here, Patty.
There's a tremendous amount. I mean, I saw that video. Actually, I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a beautiful place, and he really was trying to do the right thing. But
Right.
if you think about it, um, you know, Grandma used to, grow vegetables out in the backyard, and what did she do? She'd bring them in, throw them in the sink, and she'd wash them off.
Yeah.
And so, there's some common sense things to think about here. If you're
Sure.
really concerned, there's nothing wrong. Water is a great, I mean, my undergraduate degree is in biochemistry. It's a great solvent. I mean, it's just a wonderful, liquid. And so wash them off with copious, amounts of water if that makes you feel good, and let them set for a day in the, even in the refrigerator. That's okay. And the thing that also remember is that there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that have that outer coat on them, like a banana.
Sure.
And you don't eat the banana peel. And what's inside that banana is perfectly safe. And so
Yeah, or a
think about
carrot
those
or a
things from a common
potato.
sense standpoint. Or a carrot, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are great things to think about. And just, if you feel comfortable rinsing them off and washing them off, I wouldn't put a lot of solvent on them or a
Right.
disinfectant or anything,
Right.
but it's okay to wash
Well,
them off with water.
I mean, the FDA came right back with a statement almost immediately saying that washing fruits and veg with soap, detergent, or commercial produce wash is not recommended. You can get sick from that stuff right there
Correct.
alone. But will the you were talking about water? Will water kill COVID-19?
Water won't in itself, but it will. I mean, think about it. It washes it off. I mean, it washes that dirt and the grime, and it will flush materials off that. And that's the one thing
I
I was
guess I
meant.
I guess I should reword that question. Not kill COVID-19, but as you said, it would wash it off.
Yeah, it would wash it off. I mean, it may take a while. It's sort of like
Okay.
if you have to wash your hands, obviously with soap and water, it's the best thing, because
Right.
that soap, that foamy soap, it basically breaks down the outer coat, that
Right.
envelope of the virus, and it deactivates it. But if you don't have soap, if you wash your hands in just plain water for a lot longer, I'm not sure how many seconds, more than 20 seconds,
Yeah.
it at least is that mechanical action is also helping, disrupt that on your skin, and flush it off.
As an infectious disease expert, would you be inclined to say that people are more apt to catch COVID-19 while grocery shopping from another person or from the food or packaging that they're picking up?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of parts to that aren't as easy to answer. So
Sure.
if you were there, and let's say somebody was COVID-19 positive and they didn't have a mask on, you didn't have a mask on, and they sneezed, they were only a couple feet away. You're more likely to, become at least exposed to the virus. The likelihood, and what people are saying, and we believe this, is that most people probably are getting infected by touching a surface and then touching their face.
Yeah.
And so that's why people get, we talk about it all the time. Wash your hands and don't touch your face. One of my colleagues, Dr. Gavin McGregor Skinner, he's part of our GBAC board and head of our training. He's also a professor at Harvard. He's hilarious. He's a great guy. He'll tell you, don't touch your holes, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and it remember
I'm so
not
guilty.
to
I'm
touch
so
it,
guilty of that.
but that's
I'm
so
so
critical.
guilty. I mean, I was in the car
We
today
all
and
are.
I had, oh man, I had an itch inside my nose, and I'm just like, I'm trying to wipe my nose with my sleeve instead of getting my fingers in there, and I just wasn't getting the itch. It was driving me crazy. I mean,
Well, it's
you know,
allergy time too, and so people
ah,
are wanting to rub their eyes and, or like you said, scratch their nose or,
yeah,
my favorite is, you're reading a piece of paper and you touch your tongue to flip the pages. And
yeah.
it's a common thing that we all do.
Is it safer, in your opinion, to order grocery delivery or pickup? And why or why
Mm.
not?
Is it safer? Well, I mean, that's going to depend on the work practices. Again, we're getting back to behaviors of the individuals and everything. And really, I think what we're going to see going forward is some of the work practices that some of our retailers and grocery stores put in place, even for their own workers. And it's like a worker health type program. Some of the things that I've seen and recommended is, even temperature screening of workers, before they come to work. And it's something
Yeah,
that we've seen in other industries,
sure.
especially like assisted care. Before you go in, that temperature screening. Think about a neonatal unit or a transplant unit. Those are really highly susceptible individuals, and we really need to protect those populations. So you're going to see some of those work practices, and I don't think, in fact, I was on a call with a small community. They were talking about some of the, supporting some of the restaurants. And the one lady said, I even asked them, what are you doing to protect me? And they, being as a small restaurant owner or a small retail owner, when we start opening up, people need to be transparent about what practices you are to protect your employees, but also to protect your customers. And I think that will go a long way for folks.
I mean, they're even doing temperature screenings for McDonald's employees, and
Hmm.
we're talking about drive-throughs only. I
Yeah.
don't, I, there's some people that are saying, "Oh my gosh, really? Have we gone too far?" And and there's others that are saying we haven't gone far enough.
Yeah, it's time will tell on that.
Sure,
I think what's going to be very interesting is see all of these, I mean, these not work, these behaviors that we are practicing right now. They also have an effect on other infectious diseases that we get exposed to every year, like the flu. And I
sure,
think what's going to be interesting is to see what happens going forward with even our flu numbers or
yeah.
other things.
It seems nice to be able to order your groceries and have them left at your doorstep. Less human interaction this way, less risk. You order online from the comfort of your own home. Um, but then, you read these headlines that are scary, sanitizing Amazon boxes, and
Well, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, so I mean, think about, I guess to take the scary part out. If it's not perishable and it makes you feel better, and let's say you want to preserve your disinfectant, to be extra cautious, let the box sit for 24 hours.
right.
Time's our friend. I mean, that's one thing that we've learned is that time is our friend, and this virus is actually really easy to kill. And they found that on cardboard surfaces, it doesn't live, as we already talked about, but we always want to say it lives. But it stays, viable for about 24 hours. So if you can let it sit in your garage for 24 hours, all right. If you want to open it, if you just have to open that box, just realize that don't touch your face, carefully open the box. You can spray it with a disinfectant, let it sit for whatever the contact time is for that disinfectant, and then, set the box back out into your garage and wash your hands. It's
If
those things be careful about.
if you are up here in Vermont and you let it sit out in the garage, it's been right around 30, 35 degrees at night. Is it going to stay on that packaging longer than if you were down
Uh,
in Florida and it's super hot down there? It's going to die faster. Is that valid?
I'm not sure the answer. I don't think we all know. That's one thing about this virus that's frustrated all of us is we have been learning almost daily, and what we learn
Sure.
today sometimes changes tomorrow with it being such a new virus. Those are
Right.
things to consider. And now I know in Vermont you probably have basements, whereas some parts like in Texas we didn't when I was there.
Sure.
So things like that.
Important to say that if you are going to go to the store, if you're going to go any store, social distance is the key.
Yes.
If there's a busy aisle, skip it, circle back later.
Hmm.
Um, keep some space at checkout, at least 6 feet if you can. A lot of these stores are requiring that. They're actually telling that next person in line to back up, and they're sanitizing everything before that next customer. I mean, these people at checkout at grocery stores across the
Hmm.
country are working so much harder than they have in the
And
past, and a lot
they're
of them
scared.
are wearing masks. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, no, and they're scared. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, these are, um, you know, part of our community that a lot of them are hourly wage. If they lose their job, it's a very difficult situation for them. And so, I have a sister who works at, a home improvement store, and she's cautious. She knows, she's been around me long enough. She knows, a lot of things. She asks me lots of questions. She brings a lot of information back to her coworkers, but it's one of those things where she really is apprehensive about, if her allergies got bad last week, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
first thing you start thinking about. And so it's one of those things where we all are very, I will say, hyper aware of what's going on right now.
Hyper.
And,
Yeah.
if all of us hyper aware, and if all of a sudden somebody flipped that switch and said, okay, everything's fine now, I don't know that we're going to go back to not being more aware of some of the behaviors, some of the aspects. I mean, one of the things that someone asked me was, what about our shoes? If we're going out in public,
Yeah.
is there the possibility that it, could be tracked home by our shoes? And,
There's been a lot about that in the media lately.
mhm, and it's a question. It's like, is it possible? Oh, well, it's hard to say 100% no, it's not possible. Is it likely? If you were in healthcare, it's more likely than if in a COVID-19 hospital, it's gonna be much more likely than if you're just out in public somewhere. But
Sure.
again, if you feel that, you're gonna be more comfortable with spraying the bottom of your shoes before you or having outdoor shoes and indoor shoes, that's okay.
Yeah.
I had a question last week about, um, my husband has is on chemotherapy, and my 2 sons, are still here with us, and they both work in, like a fast food store. What types of things do we need to be concerned about? And those are the kinds of things that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And again, it's like those kids need to be hyper, just super aware of the fact that they could be what we would call a vector, bringing that virus home. And so, how they protect themselves, and then making sure they wash their hands, taking a shower when they first come home, making sure their clothes go in the laundry to protect their father, may be what they need to do, and should do. So think about things like that.
It seems like husbands, wives, partners, we are fighting more than we ever have. And if you get a couple together that one is very hyper aware and the other one maybe like myself, who aren't as dare I say, respectfully, paranoid that there can be so much tension between two people. Just coming in the house the other day from the mailbox with mail in my hand. Where does it go? Does it go in the kitchen table? No. Does it go in the counter? No. Does it go on the floor? It's crazy.
Well, and it is crazy, but as you said, it's interesting when you look at um, just different statistics, and I don't know them completely, but I know that I've read that like car accidents are down, robberies apparently in some of
Sure.
the big cities are down, domestic
Sure.
violence has gone up, and it's as
Yes.
far as some of the reports that have come in, and it's one of those things where I think it's sometimes it's easier for some other my kids are both older. My kids are both medical residents, so mom here has a little bit of a hyper awareness from a standpoint of my sons
Sure.
are both at the front lines right now,
Sure.
and but I don't have little kids running around while I'm trying to also work from home. I have two Australian shepherds that are thinking
Right.
that they need attention,
We
but
have a 5-year-old, and as soon as she hears me speaking, she could jump on this camera any second, and there's not a
I well,
not
she
a
and my
darn thing I
one
can do I can't stop her at all.
uh, she and my
Um,
1-year-old Australian Shepherd would get along really well then, because every once
I'm
in a while
sure.
I've had her jump up here, but I think that one of the things is, I guess step back and just kind of self-reflect as to, we are all in this together, and it is stressful for everybody, and those how we how we let our stress behaviors, come out, is different for each person. But then recognizing that we all need to have a little bit of downtime and a little bit of just a breather of normalcy, whatever that may be,
Sure.
is important.
Common sense stuff. If you're going out to a store, curbside delivery, if you can, wear a mask, use hand sanitizer. If it's available at the store, take advantage of it.
Hmm.
If it's not, have some on you. Sanitize your hands before you go. Sanitize your hands while you're in there, and your shopping cart, and certainly when you leave. When do you take your mask off? I would say when you get back inside your car.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say?
Yeah, and be very careful when you're taking your gloves or your mask off. What a lot of people learned, I had known it, through just research, biosafety issues, but as you're taking that mask off, that's during the Ebola days in 2014. That's how the nurses got infected in
Right.
Dallas. And so it's that very, very, careful, methodical how you take it off. And then the other thing just to think about, as you're going out in public, and you may not be, especially some generation, when they don't seem to have as serious of symptoms as some of those of us who are getting older here, or underlying conditions. You don't know. The person that you're next to may be on chemotherapy. They may be a diabetic. They may
Yeah,
have
right.
multiple sclerosis. You just don't know. And so we're protecting everybody else as well.
And if you can, leave your kids at home. Make sure they're, if you can leave them with a spouse or a partner, and not bring them grocery shopping with you. And
Yeah.
and another thing is, if you're not feeling great, stay the heck
Stay
home.
home. Stay home. I mean, and again, I realize that that's easier said than done for a lot of our workforce, because
Yeah,
again, a lot of them are depending upon that paycheck to pay their bills.
of
And
course.
so, but seriously, I think that's something that we'll probably be looking at differences in the future with some of our even maybe labor law issues that are
Yeah.
going to come in play.
Uh, I'm sure there's good news with all of this too. We just have to look a little harder for it. But it seems like we are rounding the curve, I guess, is the language that we've heard. But the New England Journal of Medicine published a study late last month saying that this coronavirus can be detected on porous surfaces like cardboard, paper, fabric, up to 24 hours, like you said, and on hard surfaces like glass and plastic for what, 72 hours, I think?
3 days, yeah. And and that's based on the conditions. There's also the understanding that in certain kind of conditions that you might be able to detect viable virus in the air for as many as 3 hours after. And especially
Wow.
if you think about in a hospital situation
Yeah.
where you're intubating individuals and in critical care, it's really important to for our healthcare workers to really understand, again, how they can potentially become infected.
How
Mhm.
can folks watching right now learn more about you or get in touch with you directly if they have any questions that about anything that we may not have covered tonight, or maybe some follow-up questions?
Sure. So there's two websites to look at. One of them, I mean, there is the www.gbac.org, but right now, if they went to issa.com, just issa.com, there's a coronavirus website. And for businesses, we have a new online training that's out there. People who are on the front lines for cleaning and disinfection, to be able to say, okay, I understand this. It's beyond just normal cleaning. What we need to do, and then the other thing is that keep watching that website, especially if you have a business or small business, because the GBX Star program really, I think, is going to be a game changer for a lot of folks to be able to start opening up. It's going to, I mean, how our executive director describes it is it's going to be the lead building, the lead building certification, but for the cleaning and professional disinfection communities to give back that confidence of for folks. I mean, how I describe it is think about going into a hotel room. You see that little pamphlet on there that says we're green and sustainable.
Sure.
Well, we want them to be able to say, have a GBAC star that says we are cleaning, disinfecting, to protect our employees and you, and we're ready to open.
Man, it's great to have you on. Final question: what are you doing? Are you ordering your food to delivery at home? Are you going out? Are you doing takeout? Or are you doing all the above?
So it's interesting. So I live in between Athens, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia. So it's pretty much out, in the country a little bit. I have gotten takeout and, went through the make sure that, everything, how we take things out. Obviously in the last couple months, I have gone and gotten some groceries and had to get a prescription filled. Wore my mask, made sure I washed my hands, had my alcohol hand sanitizer. We also have a little organization here. It's the coolest little place. It's called Dinner in a Dash. And it's in the middle of rural Georgia. And you order online one week, what their menu is, and then you go up and you pick it up, and they have these little meals that are already pre-made. And they have done a fantastic job of social distancing and sanitizing. We're in Georgia, so it's warmer. They have their table outside. They have marks on the sidewalk where you have to stand. They disinfect the table after each person comes up, and they are busier right now than they ever have been. But
Isn't that something?
it is really something. And so I guess one of the things for me is that I do, I have a lot of empathy for those companies that are out there that are trying to keep open. And I realize this
Yeah.
is difficult times. And so if I see that they're, doing their part in what we had talked about, some of that infectious disease prevention program, hand washing, gloves, shields in front of their folks, I'm more than willing to help support them too. So
Yeah. We're big into buy local up
food,
here in
pizza's
Vermont
a
as
really
well.
good thing. It's a comfort
Yes.
food.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yep.
is. Amen to that. Thank you so much, Patty, for joining us tonight on
Mhm.
Aired Out. We appreciate your time and value it so, so much. I can only imagine how busy an infectious disease expert is right now. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening and stay
Have
safe.
Yes, have a great rest of your night. That's Patty Olinger, and we're going to again put some more info here on YouTube and on Facebook as to how you can contact her website, at least to learn more about everything that she does. She is a very, very busy lady right now.
Mhm.
So, once again, don't put chemical cleaners directly on your food ever. Not a good idea to do that. Wash them down with good fresh water. We have a new relief fund that's now available for Burlington artists who are struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Artist Relief Fund was announced during the city's daily briefing yesterday on Thursday. And since opening the fund on Wednesday, the Burlington City Arts officials say that they have already seen several donations to the fund, coming in more than 3 dozen applications as well.
Mm.
So we're trying to do an awful lot up here in Vermont with the arts community. The fund is offering $500 grants for Burlington area artists who have lost income as a result of this virus. Um, President Trump, I see, is laying out plans to start opening the economy from the coronavirus shutdowns. He explains that the White House's plans will be in 3 phases that'll give states step by step guidelines to get back to business. That is certainly of paramount concern here in the Green Mountain State. And he explains that the White House plans will be um, basically in basically ongoing. It will take a long time. It's nothing that's going to, as we said earlier, be a switch that's going to be thrown. He said that the economy can get restarted again in a safe and structured fashion, but again, be patient. It will take quite a bit of time. Um, the number of coronavirus deaths in the United States continuing to soar, over 33,000 Americans, and these are brand new numbers here. 33,000 Americans have perished from COVID-19. And most of those deaths, about 12,000, have been in New York City alone. Not New York, but New York City. Across the U.S., 671,000 people have been infected with COVID-19. But as I like to say here on the podcast, the good news is over 56,000 people now have recovered. Say it again. Over 56,000 people have recovered. Around the world, over 2 million people have been infected, and 144,000 deaths. So obviously, it seems like no matter what TV station you throw on or when you're picking up your phone, it doesn't matter, day, night, COVID-19 it's everywhere. It has very much dominated the media and all things that we see and hear about. Um, Here on Aired Out, we try to touch on it as much as we can without going overboard, but we also like to inject plenty of news and information and lighthearted stuff as well. For example, music. Pink Floyd is releasing some of their old concerts on YouTube. This got my attention this morning. The band says that starting today, they're going to stream full concerts for free every Friday. Today, Pink Floyd is going to be showing, and it starts tonight. They're going to be showing their 1994 Pulse concert that was filmed in London. The band says they hope the Friday concerts will help people make it through the shutdown. Other bands that are following suit: Metallica and Fish and Radiohead. So pretty cool stuff. I'll be watching that tonight. Not sure exactly what time that starts, but I hope to to check it out. 80s pop star Christopher Cross says that his battle with coronavirus has left him with temporary paralysis in his legs. This was on his social media yesterday. He said that he has recovered from COVID-19, something that he contracted last month. Did not develop respiratory complications, but other problems as a result of COVID-19, which is something that is new to my ears anyway, muscle weakness. And it is something that can have a lasting, if not a permanent, impact on the human body. Christopher Cross. Interesting. What's the other story there that jumped out at me? Johnny Depp officially joining the world of Instagram, making a big entrance on the social media platform yesterday to debut his and Jeff Beck's cover of John Lennon's song Isolation. And he basically amassed over a million Instagram followers in just a matter of hours to do this. He says he's just making it his part to help those who are involved with social isolation. Just again, something new and fresh to see and hear on the internet. Johnny Depp with his cover of John Lennon's Isolation, along with Jeff Beck. Let's see. Ellen DeGeneres show. Apparently, staff are not happy with how the show's shutdown has affected everyone during the COVID-19 pandemic, and more specifically, how it was all handled. Sources are now telling Variety that the crew did not receive any written communication about the status of their working hours, their pay, or inquiries about their mental and physical health from producers for over a month. DeGeneres' stage crew also found out that an outside non-union company was hired to help film remote episodes of the from the talk show host's home. The crew has also been notified of a 60% reduction in pay. So, as I said, they are not happy at all. What else do we have that's going on? Just clicking through here, finding out anything more that we can pass on. It's just about 20 minutes of 6 here in Vermont. Oh, country music. We have a couple of stars that are joining the lineup for the upcoming One World Together at Home broadcast. This will be Billy Ray Cyrus, Lady Antebellum, Maren Morris. This is all going on tomorrow night. Big star-studded event. They're going to be joining Keith Urban and Casey Musgraves. The World Health Organization has teamed up with the international advocacy organization Global Citizen to put on the event in honor of healthcare workers during the pandemic. It airs at 7 p.m. Central on several networks, including ABC, NBC, and CBS. So that'll be on. Let's see, what else do we have? Hugh Jackman and Will Ferrell are the guests on the Tonight Show tonight with Jimmy Fallon. We have House Speaker Nancy Pelosi going to be with Stephen Colbert. That's going to be interesting. Tonight on the Tube, let's see. The Departed on AMC. That's something that I think will get some views. And Alicia Keys going to be with Colbert tonight. Kesha is going to be on the Tonight Show performing. Disney's going to have the movie Peter Rabbit. I will probably end up watching that with Lily tonight. Escape to Africa, the Nickelodeon family film Madagascar is going to be on the Tube tonight. Christine Sutherland, 65 today on the birthday list. Boomer Eisen, 59. Liz Fair, 53. Always enjoyed her music. Checking a couple of birthdays here. And let's see, there was something else here that I wanted to tell you. There's some really wacky stuff going on in the world right now. The Vatican has reportedly censored some video showing Pope Francis joke that Scotch whiskey is the real holy water. And man, is this story picked up in Rome. The clip, originally part of a BBC documentary called Priest School, features the Pope visiting Scottish students at the Apostle Palace. And upon receiving a bottle of Oban 14 malt, the 83-year-old pontiff blurted out the joke and laughed. The film director told the Scottish Daily Record that the Vatican's media office made sure to remove that clip from the film. But now, of course, it's everywhere. No surprise. Before I skip out, birthdays today locally here in the North Country. Trista White from Williamstown, Sherry Collins from Washington. Happy birthday to you both. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I want to thank all of my sponsors, of course, Aeromed Essentials, State Street in Montpelier, and the Berlin Mall. And of course, those two store locations are temporarily closed for obvious reasons, but they are ordering online. They're taking phone orders and they're getting it shipped right to your home. I think it's a 505-1405, 505-1405. I'll make sure of it and get that right here for Lauren Andrews, who's, by the way, is going to be joining me right here on Aired Out next week. All right. Chris Wright from Wright Electric. If he's watching tonight, we appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for being a presenting sponsor along with Aeromed Essentials. And Jason Gauthier, Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange. One busy man right now. The lawn screening up. He's got the lawnmowers tuned up and ready to go. Weed whackers too. He's going to be full bore into landscaping here very shortly. It's picking up at a crazy pace for Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance. If it's a retaining wall, or maybe you just need your lawn raked up and cleaned up before it starts growing, he'll take very good care of you. Tell him I sent you and thank him for being a presenting sponsor of Aired Out. Trash King Trash Removal Service, which is part of Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance. Trash King Trash Removal is killing it right now. He's priced well below the big guys, and he'll come to your house as often as you need. He'll remove your household trash. He'll get it to the dump, and you don't have to worry about a thing. Get in touch with him. I'm going to post a picture of the back of my shirt that I'm wearing right now, still, of Trash King and Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance, our presenting sponsor of Aired Out. This guy right here is going to be back on Aired Out real soon. He's doing some live stuff from his home. You've got to get on Dave Keller's Facebook page, see what he's doing, watch what he's doing, listen to what he's doing. And of course, he's doing virtual guitar lessons from home, private guitar lessons, one-on-one with Dave Keller. This guy is one of many musicians and artists here in the Green Mountain State who are working hard to survive. He has lost many gigs, including a tour out in Europe, canceled because of coronavirus. So Dave Keller is going to be working for a while, getting his feet back underneath him. Please support this musician along with Chad Hollister, Tim Brick, and so many others. Donna Thunder. I mean, the list goes on and on, who are performing from home, entertaining us from home every Friday night and Saturday night and Sundays, days, nights, follow these musicians on Facebook. They will entertain you, and they'll do such a great job at doing it. They always do. This past Saturday night, Chad Hollister, who does a regular 7 o'clock show every Saturday night, so much fun, right in his living room. It's incredible. And the cool part is it's different every time. But Dave Keller, if you're watching tonight, I can't wait to have you back on the show through Zoom here. God bless you, and take care of one another. And well, I guess that's going to do it. Have a great rest of your night. I can't believe that it is Friday already. Be good to one another. Be patient. Be kind, and keep that social distancing up. And most of all, be safe and have faith. Have a great night, everybody.